good day. This is Chuck Cameron, OCTV. The program is My Life. And today I'm sitting with a guy who I just got to know, but I think I'm going to really like, Geoff Bullen. Geoff, welcome to My Life.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Well, it's nice to have you here.
Yes.
I chuckled at that because Geoff owns the Tim Hortons in town and Cold Stone Creamery, right?
Just at Tim Hortons. We took the Cold Stone out during the last few years.
And Geoff has a great shop on 24, and he has consented to sit down for a few minutes with us and talk about his life. So, Geoff, first of all, tell me about what you're up to today. You're doing the Tim Hortons there at the store. Can you
Yes.
give me a couple of minutes on what's your business and why you picked Oxford?
Sure. Well, we came down here from Toronto, my wife and I, Joanne, in 2012, so we've been here 12 years. Oxford chose us, and we chose them when we were, there was an existing owner looking to exit the business, so they came to us, said here's an opportunity, and we came down, looked at it, loved the area, and we kind of jumped right in. And that was June of 2012.
Well, we are mighty glad you did.
Yes.
We'll dig a little bit more about business near the end, but we always start, as you probably know, we always start with talking about growing up. You said you're from Canada, so
Yes.
talk to us, if you would, a little bit about the start. Where were you born? And talk a little bit about what was it like growing up there,
Sure.
and whether or not you have any siblings.
Absolutely. So I grew up in St. John's, Newfoundland,
Yeah.
so that's the far east coast of Canada. It's the oldest city in North America.
That's a long way out
Smaller city, about probably 125, 150,000 people. I have an older brother, Chris, who's 3 years older, and my mom and dad. My mom passed away last year, but my dad still lives there, and hopefully going to see him over the summer for a couple weeks.
I hope you do. Excellent. So, growing up in Newfoundland, what was it like? What was school like? And
Sure.
did you have any teachers that either kept you on the right track or helped you off the wrong track?
Yes, absolutely. So growing up, school was awesome, very like family-oriented town, small town. Played a lot of sports, so hockey, as you would guess, being a Canadian,
Imagine
was
that.
the sport of choice.
Yes, sir.
My two front teeth are capped, and they did get knocked out by playing hockey, so and that was on a nice pond. And then we played baseball, soccer, softball were kind of most sports I played. Teachers, a lot of the phys ed teachers growing up were very involved because I played a lot of sports, and so that's we usually played sports throughout the year.
Coaches and teachers have a tendency to push us to the direction that is good for us, even if we don't maybe want to.
Yes, no, for sure. And like I said, one of the coaches in our high school hockey team was also a police officer, and he always kept us, on the right path, so to speak.
I bet he did.
Okay.
So you were highly motivated to not meet him in the wrong
Exactly,
circumstance. Yep.
exactly.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
So what was Dad like? What was Mom like? Could you tell us that?
Yes. Well, my dad, he worked for the government as an accountant. He's worked there pretty much all his life for probably 35 years. Very hardworking, very committed. That work ethic, they never called off, always showed up for work. And like I said, growing up in St. John's, there was a lot of snowstorms that you can imagine. And, no matter what, they made it to work. My mother was a nurse assistant. Both my parents grew up in what we call around the bay in small outport communities, and then they moved to the city. My mother passed away last March of cancer, but her adult life was being more of a caregiver in hospitals, homes, and then at individual homes as well.
What a blessing to have a mom who takes care of the kids and then takes care of people. She's got a lot of skills, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like I said, funny story of my mother. My grandmother gave birth 21 times.
My goodness. I'm not even sure that goes to funny. That goes to awesome.
Yeah, and so so she has a lot of siblings, and I have a lot of cousins. So and then even her oldest brother, he had 12 children himself. So back then there were very large families.
So Newfoundland is being well taken care of.
Exactly. Yes.
And go and reproduce world.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, like especially growing up in those smaller communities, a lot of them were fishing
Right.
towns or farming, so they kind of, all the kids at an early age really helped out in the household.
You need to have workers, and if
Yeah.
you can grow your own,
Yeah.
it's a good thing.
Yeah, they didn't have any iPhones or internet back then, so
You didn't go online and
No.
ask for somebody to help out.
exactly right.
None of
Right.
that, none of that. Okay.
Yeah.
How about school? What did you like in school, and what did you dislike in school
Sure.
as far as classes go?
I would say math I liked, history, obviously physical education were kind of my prime courses. Biology was interesting. Maybe more on the English, or it was probably not my favorite class. Music, like I said, not very musically inclined, so
Understood.
and that's really throughout the family. We're not very musically inclined, so we played more sports, athletics.
Good. So, if you're a kid, when you were a kid, do you have any idea what you wanted to do or be when you were a kid? And did that kind of change as you started to grow up into your teen and adult years?
Yeah, well, as I mentioned, growing up, I played a lot of hockey, and so as a kid, I wanted to be the left winger with Wayne Gretzky.
There you go.
Okay, but unfortunately,
You didn't get
that didn't happen,
Really?
and so Plan B
Man.
came into effect. It's interesting. I knew as a kid, growing up, I had paper routes. I used to do lemonade stands, so I knew I wanted to do something in business. What that was, when it was, but eventually I wanted to kind of get into business and pursue a career in that. And kind of as I went to university, I did my Bachelor of Commerce, majored in finance, and then I got into technology on the sales side, and then eventually we pivoted and did our own, got our own business. Yeah.
Excellent. We'll get into that. Up there, for us here in Michigan, Newfoundland is way up there,
Way
and
up
way
there.
out there, stuck out in the
It's
ocean.
almost like up north is the here, right?
It is indeed.
Right.
Were you an outside guy? I mean, sports and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Was there hunting and fishing and
yes.
hiking and
Yeah,
parks
I mean,
and
it's
stuff?
hunting, fishing, hiking. It's all huge. There, I wasn't much of a hunter myself.
Yeah.
Fishing, my dad would take my brother and I, but mostly our time was mostly spent, really doing sporting activities.
Did all the sports stuff.
Right, not a lot of hunting. My dad hunted, but my brother and I weren't huge hunters. And like I said, we would do fishing, going to lakes and ponds and all that stuff.
Well, it sounds like you had lots
Yeah.
of fun doing all the fun stuff you did.
Yes,
All right.
it was good.
Well, hang with me. You hang
Yeah.
on with us too for a minute. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about Geoff's life growing up and going out of his elementary school and in high school and college, and figure out what you did next. So don't go away, and thanks for watching.
When a crisis hits, close to home and across the globe, nonprofits are on the front lines, ready to serve.
Keep coming.
The demand for charitable services has skyrocketed, and nonprofits are rising to meet the needs. Healing, nurturing, rescuing, honoring, protecting, caring, inspiring. The work of philanthropic organizations of all sizes, across all missions, has never been more important. And it's donors and volunteers like you who make all this possible. Thank you. Together, we change the world. The Nonprofit Alliance.
Okay, thanks for coming back. Geoff is still here. I think we're going to have to stop by and get a donut after we have this interview. I'm feeling the urge. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, good.
Maybe a coffee as well.
Indeed. Okay, Geoff, you got into high school.
Yes.
5 grades, I remember, if I'm not incorrect.
5 grades?
5 grades. Isn't there a grade
No.
13?
No. It's grade 12. Yeah,
Okay.
just grade 12. Yeah.
My knowledge is old, as is the rest of me. So, once you get out of high school, what did you want to do then, and what
Sure.
did you do then?
So after graduating from high school, Went to University at Memorial University. And then, like I said, I went into the business program.
Right.
Graduated there, I think it was in 96-ish, I believe. And then I decided I had some friends that moved out to Vancouver, which is on the other coast of Canada.
Well, that's a long way
And then I
west.
made that jump out there, and they said, "Go west, young boy, go west."
Ooh, yeah.
So that's where the gold was. And so I moved out there, and then that's when I got into finance/technology business.
So that's to my small knowledge of Canadian geography, that's a long jump.
Yeah, it would
From
be
as
like
far east to as far west as you
yeah, it would be say going from Bangor, Maine to San Diego, California.
Yeah, that seems about right. What drew you to the West Coast?
Well, West Coast, like I said, I had friends that went there a year before.
Oh, sure.
They enjoyed it. The weather's much nicer,
Yeah.
and the economy was growing pretty fast. So there were opportunities out there after a university. So
Good place to be for a business guy.
yes, and also I wanted to kind of see. I grew up in Newfoundland all my life. I wanted to see different parts of Canada and ultimately parts of the world.
What surprised you when you got out west and you got into this, I'm an adult now, let's get on with life? Anything surprise you about being in the big city?
Probably just the density of people. I mean, it's much more busier city than St. John's. Much more expensive as well.
Yep.
So it's very expensive. But other than that, it was you caught on very quickly and made friends, and got a job very quickly, and then made new friends who are also from different parts of Canada and the world. So
Yeah.
it was a great experience.
Those kinds of cities draw people from all over, don't they?
Yes. I mean, Vancouver specifically draw a lot of folks from Asia, India, all across Canada. So a very diverse city.
Excellent. I understand several Americans go there, but they're not always welcome.
Well,
I'm kidding.
no. I mean, actually, because it's so close to Seattle,
Yep.
and you have the mountains there with the skiing. A tremendous amount of Americans come like skiing all the time.
Beautiful
Yeah,
country.
it is. Yeah, it is pretty beautiful.
So you're in business. What kind of business were you in, and why did you get into that?
Sure. I first got into the financial services business, once a mutual fund company and then a brokerage firm. And so I was there for a few years, and then I was looking to kind of get into the technology space, software space, and I was kind of looking for a company that, was leveraging my financial background with getting into sales. So then I was able to jump on with the software company on the sales side. And then I started, selling all around North America.
You were with SAP at the time, or
No, this was a much smaller company called Selkirk Financial Technologies. And then I was there with Vancouver, and then I transitioned down to Chicago. And then we had our U.S. office was based in Chicago, so then I lived in Chicago for about 3 years.
Were there folks in that sequence of times and jobs that were really mentors or helps for you as you kind of became a young man and then a businessman?
Well, absolutely. A couple of folks, a gentleman who was running sales for that company at the time was a big-time mentor to me as I got into that career. And on the sales side, he had a tremendous amount of experience in sales, and I was just starting off. Yep. So he kind of mentored and coached a tremendous amount, and had a lot of respect for that gentleman, as well as the owners of the company, great people. So always helped out, and career developed as we kind of grew as a company as well.
You mentioned that you took a just gigantic time off.
Yes.
Tell me when, and tell me about the story, because it sounds like a great time.
Yeah, so when I was in Chicago, we were kind of wrapping up with that company, and I decided before I turned 30, I wanted to, instead of getting back into working full time again and only having 2 or 3 weeks vacation time a year, I said I wanted to go do some traveling, some places that for an extended period of time. So I ended up taking a year off, and I went over to Europe and spent 6 months traveling over there. all various countries, mostly in the western side. And then from there I came back to St. John's for Christmas with the family, and from there I went down to Australia for 6 months and traveled that country, all around that country for 6 months.
I bet you got some great stories to
Yeah,
tell.
it was a great experience. Got to see places that I probably will never see again. But like I said, I did it before I turned 30 and got back into the workforce, and it was an investment well spent.
Excellent. What'd you learn in this wild world wandering mode of yours?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of diverse cultures, being respectful of those cultures, different personalities. I got to meet friends that are folks while traveling backpacking that I still stay in touch with today.
Excellent.
So, it's, you meet, long-lasting friendships was amazing. So, yeah, it was very nice. And like I said, you get to see also how different countries, folks do business, what works, what doesn't work. So it was very interesting.
Would you advise folks who grew up either on your side of the pond or in ours, Canadians or Americans that are sort of stayed-at-home people, would you advise them to get out and go someplace well away from home just to learn some things?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would always encourage it. It's good to get different perspectives on things and see different things. So it just kind of gives you a broader scope and understanding of various things out there in the world. So absolutely, why not?
Everybody doesn't do things the way we do
Right.
they?
No, absolutely. No, I mean, it's, you can learn best practices from different folks, different countries, different people. So absolutely.
Yep.
Yes, yeah, very much so, very much so. So interesting, when I was in Germany and partaking in a couple of those cold beverages that they sell over there.
I've read about those.
Yes.
Yeah.
I actually met a couple of folks who were working for Amazon, and they were setting up business at that point in time over in Germany, which was amazing. This is like 20 years ago,
Yeah,
so it's like,
early Amazon.
it's amazing that, unfortunately I didn't end up buying the stock at that time, but I should have. But
I won't ask the question. It was formulated in my mind.
Right.
Stay away.
So it was amazing how, how they were thinking that far back. So
You just never know, do you?
you don't know.
Well, we're going to take a little break, but we're going to talk a bit about you getting into another pretty cool company here, but after the break. So don't go away. We're going to be right back. Geoff's going to help us figure out the third section of his history here, and we think you'll like it. Okay, we're back. Thank you for not going away.
No, I'm still here.
I appreciate that. We're going to talk a little bit about more recent stuff.
Sure.
You were in Chicago. You did this crazy world tour. Did you have T-shirts printed up with the various cities you? You got back, and now you're in Oxford, Michigan. How'd you go from that to this?
Sure. So when I finished the backpacking around Europe and Australia, I came back, and then I moved to Toronto.
Yeah.
And so then I got back into the software business on the sales side with SAP and Oracle and Business Objects, and been a part of a lot of companies that I worked with, got acquired by bigger software companies. That's how that game goes.
Yes,
so then,
it is.
And then I met my wife, Joanne, in Toronto. I was friends with her brother,
Got it.
and then we connected. And so then she was working with Tim Hortons corporately in the marketing department for 10 years, and I was in the software sales for about 20 years. And then we were kind of looking to start our own business, get out of the corporate grind, so to speak.
Yep.
And we were looking at different concepts, and then obviously Tim Hortons is very popular in Canada, and we knew the brand. And then we kind of came about that they were looking to expand in the U.S.
Sure.
And so we were like, well, our kids, my stepkids, they were grown at that point in time, so we didn't have young kids in school or anything like that. And so, and it was close, obviously, Toronto to, Michigan is a very short drive. So he said there was an opportunity for Timmy's in Pure, Michigan, so we decided to jump on it.
You get extra credit for referencing the Pure Michigan.
Right, exactly.
Pure Michigan. We're going to like this one. All right. So you got a place out here?
Yes, so then we decided to make the transition in 2012.
Yeah.
We took over the Oxford store I was mentioning earlier. That was when we first started. It was a 24/7 operation, so the place never shut down, and it was, we were in the corporate world. Even though we were familiar with Tim's, we weren't familiar with actually running a restaurant, so it was a big adjustment, and also working together as a team was a big adjustment as well. So, we had a lot of long days, nights, early mornings, late nights. If the third shift baker doesn't call off, it was either Joanne and I in there from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. to kind of make sure everything was ready to go in the morning. So, but we, like most small business owner, we put the time in, and we seen it through. And then about 5 years ago, we acquired the Lake Orion location, and we've settled in the community, Oxford and Lake Orion, very well. So got to know a lot of folks. When I did move to Oxford, also got involved in the community, the Chamber of Commerce. I sat on that board for about 5 years. So very involved in the community. Whether it be in a business or helping sponsor sports or nonprofits or churches, whatever the case may be, we try to give as much as possible our time and resources back into the community, and that's part of not only ourselves but also with Tim Hortons as part of our brand as well.
It's funny how good that feels when you give to a cause that maybe can't give you back anything.
Right.
Just feels you good.
Yes, absolutely.
If I remember correctly, 2012 was a lot like a decade, 12 years ago. There wasn't much other than the Tim Hortons and the Meijer on that stretch of 24, was there?
It was, I mean, when we looked around, we're like, okay, but we seen the numbers, so it was doing decent business. Obviously, he's close to the high school.
Sure.
But yeah, within that time frame, I mean, there's been a tremendous amount of growth. As we were talking during the break regarding with the Legacy Center at that time was just an empty old, I think it was a boating facility. So that got, a bunch of businesses came in there. Then the Tractor Supply, then the Leo's Development, Culver's, Tropical Smoothie, then the housing behind us. So there's been some nice development in that area, specifically that part of the Oxford area with over the last, at least 7 years. It's been, and more to come, I guess.
Have you then seen it was a business question, but I'm a business guy.
Yeah.
Have you seen with all that slow but positive growth, your business increasing at that store?
Yes, we've seen, growth has come as, more business and competitions come to the market as well.
Yep.
But also, you realize, I mean, that brings also more traffic. So sometimes people think that's a bad thing, but actually for us, it's been good because you get more traffic in the area. So it's kind of worked out.
Bodies
nicely.
are good.
But also, like anything, it's, you have to execute every day, and you got to be involved in the community and connect with the guests and give them a good experience and a good value proposition. So for them to come back.
If a young person or maybe a young adult walks into your store and sitting there having a wonderful donut and a cup of coffee and looks around and says, I wonder if I could do this. I wonder if I could have a store like this and be my own business person. I wonder if I could do that. What would you tell them?
I would say I strongly encourage it, but you got to be doing it for the right reasons. You got to be committed. you got to be able to sacrifice. And you know, at the end of the day, as a small business owner, it's, you know, you may not be open 24/7, which we are no longer, but you're operating 24/7.
Right.
The buck stops with you, and you know, so you know, absolutely encourage it. It's you know, it's always a great thing, whether that's their own business, their own ideas. You know, amazing, because there's amazing businesses here in Oxford that we can talk about.
Yeah.
That they started with great guest experience and brands, or whether it's something like we did with a brand, a franchise. Either way, you still got to work them, and like I said, it's you know, you're always on point.
What do you think of Oxford? What do you think of the town? And if you looked ahead, where do you think Oxford is going?
I mean, it's, you know, like anything, I think you're seeing that this whole area grow, and you're going to continue to see that, whether it be more residential or business or industrial. You know, from what I've seen the last, you know, say 12 years, it's just been, you know, the town is doing it right. They're doing it responsibly. You know, and I know Supervisor Curtis, he's always in the restaurant we talk, and he's always very willing to be involved and provide feedback, and they've done a great job. You know, I see, you know, as they're putting in a new sewer system now up 24, so the infrastructure's going in. Who knows if we'll ever get the hospital or not, but hopefully that will at some point. The remodel of McLaren's been huge. That's a $45 million investment. And you know, there's still a lot of white space for land that, you know, you can build housing and affordable housing for folks who want to come in here. The school systems are fantastic. So if you start looking at the, you know, for people who want to live in the area for a good quality of life and living, and you know, checks a lot of the boxes. You think about it. You talk about hunting or fishing, golfing. You know what I mean? It's, you know, everything. You got Pine Knob a few minutes away, so you got, you know, great restaurants, bars. You name it, you have it around here.
It's quite a town. Now you are Oxford and now also Orion.
Yes.
How would you contrast those two towns, which are basically sisters?
Yes.
How, because you've been involved in both of them long enough to have a sense for them. How would you contrast those two towns?
I mean, they're similar in a lot of ways. I mean, they're just very community-oriented towns. I mean, it's obviously Lake Orion. You know, you got that lake, which you know, it's really stands out. But the towns themselves, the business owners I met, the folks I met, I mean, they're very similar, passionate, community-oriented people. That, and that's why probably both communities are doing so well. You know, with Orion, you have a fairly significant employer down there with GM and the incremental investment that they're making in the billions of dollars, but that, you know, there's huge domino effects with those investments in these communities, and so both, like I said, are just amazing
towns,
community.
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm always sad that I'm never going to live long enough to eat at all the good restaurants
Right.
in these 5 miles here.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
it is
astonishing,
amazing. Well,
right?
it is, yeah. I mean, actually, it's interesting because when we first moved here, we lived in downtown Lake Orion because we were renting at that point in time, because we didn't know, like, we'll see how things would shake out. And when we were there, that was 12 years ago, there was probably in the downtown core, maybe 2 or 3 restaurants. Now there's probably 13. It's amazing.
It's amazing. Life's amazing. Well,
Yeah.
we want to thank you for taking time. We certainly thank you for having these franchises, because I like them a lot.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
We thank you. We hope that as you folks drive around town, you'll stop at the businesses that you see represented on My Life. And we hope that if you have somebody that is in your life that you think might have an interesting story, let us know here at Oxford Community Television. But Geoff, thank you again.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Great to get to know you.
Yeah, likewise. My
So,
brother.
Chuck Cameron for Oxford TV. We hope you have a great day.